messed it up already.
Hurt my nails. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And Britain is alive and well.
Alive and well, and I didn't have a baby, even though Cleet said I had a baby.
I was trying to scare your in-laws and everything.
I know, that's
You
the
didn't
first
tell
thought.
me?
That's the first thought I had. I'm like, so whoever listens to this is going to be like, you had your kid and you didn't tell me? I'm like, first of all, let me clarify. I did not. But no, it was kind of crazy because my wife, she started having these like really painful contractions and noticed a little bit of blood. So we went in and she's still super early. Like she was only 33 weeks along. And the hospital's like, oh, you're dilated to a 3, so we're going to keep you overnight. And so I thought this was happening. But then it just stopped. And so that was a couple days ago. So we're now home. She's just resting. We're 34 weeks. So it's still premature because 40 weeks is full term. But anyway, our first son was 37 weeks and had to be life flighted and stay in the NICU. So I'm like, just every day counts. So any day now, it could happen. But I'm glad to be back because Cleet replaced me last week.
Yes.
Just straight up replaced me. But I'm super excited to be back. Hopefully we can get a couple more episodes before the baby comes because when the baby does come, it'll be couple weeks where I won't be able to record. So anyway, thanks for not replacing me again, Cleet.
Yeah.
Thanks for welcoming me.
I let him back on the show. I unlocked the door.
But I have a question. So there's a new horror movie that came out. Have you seen Malignant yet?
Nope.
Have you heard of it?
Nope.
Oh my God. I want you to watch it because it's brand new. It's from the producer of The Conjuring, Saw films
Sinister?
and stuff. Yeah, Sinister. Yeah. So it's the wildest movie I've seen in a long time. And all the reviews are so torn on it. So I want you to watch it at some point and just tell me how you feel because I think that you're going to like scream for joy.
Can you describe it in 2 words?
2 words.
Thrilling?
Fucking crazy.
All
Literally.
right.
I mean, I didn't, so I only watched one trailer for it. So I went in completely blind and the trailer doesn't really let on a lot of what happens. And it was, damn, I'm just going to say it's kind of a slow burn, but just watch it. And I want to know how you think about it.
I'll check it out.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to. Just watching scary movies, hanging out at home, hoping the baby doesn't come here this soon. But what have you been up to?
Well, I've been doing research on our latest episode. We had to skip this for a week, but that's okay because I wanted to take a little bit of time to really look into this because it was requested by one of our special viewers. Her name is Laura, and she's been one of our fans on YouTube for a very long time, since like, I don't know, like our 7th video.
Yeah, she's followed us a long time and commented on almost every video. Like, it's awesome. So huge shout out to you, Laura. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, very encouraging. Hopefully I do this request justice. And her, I was looking through our emails and I couldn't find her original email. I don't know if it like deleted, but I believe it was about the secrets of the Sphinx. Now, I didn't get the whole thing, but I believe I encapsulated what she was asking for.
I think that sounds about right.
So to start this off, I want you to watch a video. Those of you who are watching it outside of YouTube, you can't watch the video, but you can listen to Britton's comments. And Britton, I just want you to kind of talk about what you're seeing here. Okay? So name the title of the video.
You have 30 days to pay me $5 million analysis.
Okay.
Looks like he's building some little race car toy, plugging it into his laptop.
Okay.
He's definitely making some kind of little buggy car. Now he's getting into his car.
Okay. He's got a backpack, driving somewhere. So, okay, another plane.
Is this a snuff film? Are you subjecting me to a snuff film?
No, he just got off an airplane.
He got on an airplane. Now he got off.
Think of the theme today. Where is he at?
He's definitely in Egypt.
Yeah.
Hey, it's pyramids. Oh, wait, he built probably a camera car. Yeah, there it is. It's like a mini Mars rover, and he's driving through the pyramids.
Right.
And it just went black.
So what happened here is this was a video that showed up, I don't know, like maybe 5 years ago, and all it said was, you have 30 days to pay me $5 million on YouTube, or I'm going to release this footage. And it sent you a link to a website to where it had like his PayPal and everything on there. It said, or he'll release the ending footage.
Oh, okay.
So let's watch the end of the footage.
Hang on, before you hit play,
yeah,
we're idiots because people don't know what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah, we're drinking Bat Squatch.
By Rogue Brewing Co.
Yeah.
I've had this before. I told Cleet that it's not my favorite, but it's been a while, so maybe my taste palette has changed. But what are you thinking?
I think it's great. You were like talking it down so much. I would give this a 4 out of 5 crows.
Trying to like formulate what you said in my mind while drinking this beer. Actually, it's not as bad as I remember it being.
Yeah, I really like it. I would probably buy it again.
I guess my palate has matured.
I would drink this at a bar. I mean, it's almost sweet. It reminds me of the juicy IPA they sell here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look on the can, it's a tropical citrus blend.
Yeah, very good.
All right, but now that we're back on track with what we needed to, see, we take a week off and our show goes to shit. People don't know we're drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Anyway, back to the video.
Yeah. So that was the first part of the video. It was highly edited down, but now let's watch the second part of the video.
Okay.
So it's going through some type of shaft. People are thinking it's probably some type of like pyramid shaft.
Yeah, you didn't see like where he entered. It just like you see the pyramids and then you see this car driving through the shaft.
The shaft. It's a long shaft.
Yeah. I don't think you've heard that one before.
Hear it all the time. It's just so long. Where'd it go? Okay, yeah, there we go. And that's
What
the
the
end,
hell?
right? It's most likely a hoax, but it's like going inside the pyramid, and it looks like there's this like figure there that's by some type of light source.
It's the typical you get like a half a second of footage and then it ends. So
I think it's very creative. I liked it.
it is. I mean, there's just a couple things, obviously, just to show where the shaft is, because it shows him like driving to Egypt, and then it kind of fades out. Then this car's driving through a shaft. So did he actually drive through the pyramids, or did he just go back home in his basement?
Yeah, probably.
And throw a robe over himself. And
Good
drive
point.
in? So that's my thought.
Yeah. So,
but it is entertaining, I guess.
It encapsulates like a conspiracy theory, like Egypt doesn't let people actually excavate like the pyramids effectively, and they like stonewall people that seemingly find information that counters a certain narrative.
Right.
So, yeah. Let's kind of jump into it. I'm going to tell you, there was so much information on this, so it was really hard to figure out where I'm going to start. It might be a little bit dry at the start, but I promise you, if you stay the entire time, it'll be worth it at the end. So I'm going to start with this. When you were a kid, what did you first think when you saw the Sphinx?
When I saw the Sphinx?
Yeah, the Sphinx.
I thought it was cool. It
Giza.
reminds me of the mummy movies they made with Brendan Fraser back in the day.
That was in that? I didn't know.
I mean, it's in Egypt. And
you're talking about the mummy. Okay,
That's what I said.
Yeah.
The mummy films.
You were talking about your mummy.
My mummy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of me mum.
Yeah, I just remember when I saw it, I felt an air of great mystery, that there was some type of aura of arcane, like some old historical knowledge that was locked away. I don't know. I felt that.
Yeah, my first thought was there's no animal that exists like that. You're full of shit.
It was interesting. So when I was writing this, I typed in mysterious in the thesaurus just to I'm trying to expand my vocabulary.
Did you say theosaurus?
Theosaurus.
Is that a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Thesaurus?
Thesaurus. Anyways, a synonym that came up was sphinx-like. So I thought it was interesting.
Much like a sphinx.
Yeah.
Quaint. He walked into the room all sphinx-like.
Why are you looking so sphinx-like right now, Britain?
It's a mystery.
So in this episode, we'll be covering the Great Sphinx of Giza and its historical stories of first-hand accounts of exactly what lies beneath. The Great Sphinx of Giza is 66 feet high and 240-ish feet long.
I need the exact measurements or I'm calling bullshit.
We're going to go there. We're going to bring a tape measure. We'll probably be like escorted away.
We're going to need to tape like a bunch of tape measures together.
Like, I'm sorry, I thought we were from America. No, you're in Egypt, man. You're going to jail.
Yeah, you can't do that here. No, shit. Okay.
It is constructed of limestone blocks weighing up to 200 tons, and it is by far the biggest sculpture created by the ancients. To this day, experts are still perplexed by the origin and the purpose of the Sphinx. I think it's just like they like cats. That's what I feel like. They just like, I like
just
a cat.
like cats.
And I'm going to make a little cat man Sphinx, but who am I to say?
Yeah. As you do.
Let's deviate from my opinions. So in ancient times, the Giza Plateau, on which the Sphinx...
The Sphinx?
The Sphinx? What are you thinking about? I'm going to restart that. In ancient times, the Giza Plateau on which the Sphinx rests was known as Resto, which, if translated, means the mouth of passages.
Ah.
What passages are there? And where do they go? Well, on February 16, 1923, archaeologists in Egypt discovered the tomb of the pharaoh Tutankhamun. In popular culture, he was known as King Tut.
Ah.
You know King Tut.
King Tut.
Everyone knows King Tut.
Everyone knows King Tut.
Yeah. Which his corpse remained untouched for more than 3,000 years.
Till this guy in 1923 decides, I'm going to touch King Tut.
Yeah, he just broke through the door and it's like, I'm coming for you.
And he doesn't expect a curse.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah, we're going to have to actually do like a part 2 and 3 of this because there's like so much stuff we can cover. The magnitude of this discovery was immense as many of Egypt's tombs had been exhumed already, and it created a widespread acclaim for the story. People were hearing this story from around the world, and this led to a slew of amateur archaeologists, treasure hunters, to descend upon Egypt.
Fucking amateurs.
Can you imagine that? You just throw on your Indiana Jones gear. You know, you got a little whip. You're like, I'm going.
It's like, where are we going today? We're going to Egypt.
By the 1930s, countless new discoveries had been made, but perhaps the most incredible was yet to come. In 1935, a massive decade-long clearing project in Giza finally reached its conclusion, and what it revealed shocked the world.
Decade long. That is such a long project.
Yeah.
Can you imagine digging and excavating for 10 years?
We got to be careful, man. You can't ruin the site, you know?
Just like bring a bunch of fucking dynamite in. We're just going right down to the bottom of this thing.
Reminds me of that episode. The guy finds all this dynamite. He was shooting at it. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's because it was sweating.
And he died.
He died. I mean, yeah. I mean, you don't walk away from that.
So, one of the leaders of this project was Hamilton M. Wright, and he described the findings as such. We have discovered a subway used by the ancient Egyptians of 5,000 years ago.
They had subway trains? It's like the Sphinx Express.
Yeah, so it was just like passageways, right?
Yeah, right, obviously.
It passes beneath the causeway leading between the second pyramid and the Sphinx. From this subway, we have unearthed a series of shafts leading down more than 125 feet with roomy courts and side chambers.
That's a lot of shafts.
Yeah, big shaft. Wright and his team had a big claim. They were saying they discovered some sort of secret city under Giza Plateau for the rest of that year. Articles and stories appeared in academic journals and across mainstream news, detailing further findings of buildings, hallways, and walls, vertical stone support columns, even delicate stonework carvings, and a pastel-painted art all hidden beneath the ground. Photographs of this underground city were allegedly taken and shown to various experts who were, in the words of one Egyptologist, deeply impressed. I love that quote. Wow, I'm deeply impressed.
You know what I am right now? Deeply impressed.
That shaft is just so big.
I am deeply impressed by that shaft.
All of a sudden, however, as suddenly as these discoveries hit the mainstream, without warning, they all disappeared. No further coverage was made about the Sphinx, and Egyptian authorities diverted attention to new initiatives, while archaeologists shifted their focus to the tombs and treasures which have come to define Egyptology. So, why did this happen? Why would the world suddenly ignore the discovery of what appeared to be an ancient underground metropolis beneath Giza?
Yawn.
Fuck off.
I'm just saying, because you asked why would people ignore it?
Because they're bored.
Because they're bored.
This is stupid.
Because people don't like discoveries. I love discoveries.
I
I, for one,
with you.
am itching to find out.
You might want to get that checked. Historian Jerry Cannon, author of a 2018 book, The Giza Plateau, Secrets and the Second Sphinx Revealed, has an answer. He says, nobody knows what's under there, Cannon said, of the Giza Plateau, and if they did, he continued, it would blow all of their books and all of their history out the window.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Forget everything you know about history, because this guy is coming to change it all.
It's like people came from goats.
We descended from goats.
Everyone's like, well, he seems like he's telling the truth, and all of a sudden he comes out with that. People came from goats. Like, oh, he's crazy.
Anyway, that was fun.
Are history-changing secrets laying buried under Giza, forgotten or suppressed by those who would not like what the secrets revealed?
Yes.
And further, what would those secrets reveal?
I don't know. Lots of beetles.
Lots of beetles.
I'm just still on that mummy kick. That movie was amazing.
Oh yeah, those beetles.
Those scarab
me.
beetles that
They
just like
ate
swarmed
you.
out. Yeah.
Ugh, I had nightmares. I remember I was like, Mom, are those real? Because I was like 8. I'm like, I don't want to die.
That series is so underrated.
Yeah, it's very good. Let's take a look further in history to try to get a better picture of the potential landscape of this mystery. In the 5th century BCE, Greek historian Herodotus wrote his seminal work, The Histories known as the founding work of history in Western literature. Within it, he described a journey he had taken to Egypt where he asserted he had been shown the legendary labyrinthian corridors underneath the Sphinx.
I have seen the great shaft.
According to lore, the labyrinth was a hidden underground complex that contained a mythical hall of records, composing of all the lost knowledge of the ancients compiled before the Great Flood.
Like vinyl records?
Maybe, maybe they had a Kiss, record of Kiss down there.
Kiss is timeless. Maybe they did start in, whatever BCE you're talking about.
Of his purported journey to the underground labyrinth, Herodotus wrote, "There I saw 12 palaces, regularly disposed, which had communication with each other, interspersed with terraces, and arranged around 12 halls. It is hard to believe they are the work of man. The baffling and intricate passages from room to room and from court to court were an endless wonder to me. As we passed from courtyard into rooms, and from rooms into galleries, and from galleries into more rooms, and thence into yet more courtyards. The roof of every chamber, courtyard, and gallery is like the walls of stone. The walls are covered with carved figures, and each court is exquisitely built of white marbles and surrounded by colonnade, which is like rows of columns of Roman structures."
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That would be insanely amazing to walk through.
Well, just the way that he's talking about it seems like to hint at the expanse of how large the structure is, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's
It's
talking
not,
about
it's not small. It's not like a, box under the freeway. This is a mansion.
Yeah, imagine you're in a house and you go in, there's a living room and a door, and you open up the door and there's a kitchen. You open up another door and you just keep walking in a straight line. A room.
Yeah.
A bedroom. Then you open a room again, it's another kitchen. And you just keep going.
You just described the Winchester house.
The Winchester
Which
house.
is one thing I do want to cover as well.
Yeah. Near the corner where the labyrinth ends, there is a pyramid, 240 feet in height, with great carved figures of animals on it, and in underground chambers and passages connected this pyramid with the pyramids at Memphis. Herodotus was far from the only prominent thinker among the ancients to speak of an underground world in Egypt. First-century Greek philosopher Strabo also claimed to visit the labyrinth, which he called the Great Palace, composed of many palaces, as did his contemporary, the Roman author Pliny the Elder, who wrote of the bewildering maze of paths made up the underground complex. At around the same time, Greek historian Diodorus provided a sumptuous description of the labyrinth's majesty.
Sumptuous.
Yeah.
Word of the day.
It's like, nice.
Y'all got a sumptuous ass.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I just didn't want to say it.
We're on the same brainwave.
When one had entered the sacred enclosure, one found a temple surrounded by columns, 40 to each side, and this building had a roof made of a single stone, carved with panels and richly adorned with excellent paintings. It contained memorials of the homeland of each of the kings, as well as the temples and sacrifices carried in it, all skillfully worked in paintings of the greatest beauty. But stories of the secrets which Egypt held beneath the desert sands do not stop with the accounts of the labyrinth. In the 4th century, Syrian philosopher Lambycus, who was named after a lamb that would cuss, recorded... Just kidding.
We need to go back to naming our kids like they did in Greece.
Right.
Diodorus, Lambycus.
I imagine a lamb just like, batch. I'm
Batch
gonna
it.
name my son after that lamb.
Bastard.
Oh, man.
Fuck.
So Lambycus recorded information on a underground tunnel beneath Giza, accessed through the body of the Sphinx. As he wrote, "This entrance, obstructed in our day by sands and rubbish, may still be traced between the forelegs of the crouched colossus. It was formerly closed by a bronze gate whose secret spring could be operated only by the Magi. It was guarded by public respect, and a sort of religious fear maintained its inviolability better than armed protection would have ever done. In the belly of the Sphinx were cut-out galleries leading to the subterranean part of the Great Pyramid. These galleries were so artfully crisscrossed along their course to the pyramid that, in setting forth into the passage without a guide throughout this network, one ceasingly, inevitably returned to the starting point. Even more incredibly, according to 10th century Arab historian Masudi, these subterranean galleries contained written accounts of wisdom and acquirements in the different arts and sciences and were hidden deep. They might remain as records for the benefit of those who could afterwards comprehend them. Why do so many historical figures from different locations speak of this labyrinthian complex full of ancient knowledge? Why are these stories ignored in modern times?" So that's a lot of the history that we're going to talk about. We're going to get into some more interesting things. However, we're going to break away to Britain about Egyptology. He's actually
Egyptology.
Britain is our Egyptologist for the night.
Oh God, I'm gonna disappoint severely because I didn't do Egyptology stuff.
Egypt's in Africa.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
Egypt is the county of Utah. But yeah, no. So I have to be honest. There's not a lot of spooky shit that I could find that actually took place in Egypt, but the ones I did find are actually pretty good. So I found just a couple urban legends or myths in Egypt, and some of them are pretty good. So the first one I'll start with is known as Omena El Gula. So this urban legend takes the form of a regular lady by day, maybe someone resembling a mother, right? Just someone that's like
Just like
mother
your
figure.
mom walking around, but kind of ghoulish.
Well, not yet. During the day, it's just a regular mom walking around. Someone you can go give a hug, help you feel better. Maybe she's even kind and appears to be sweet. However, when the sun goes down and night settles across the Egyptian sands, Omena El Ghul's true appearance is shown.
Is it an octopus?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a big old land octopus in the sand. It's a sandopus.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, very. She transforms into a ghoul during the night and sets out to eat children who have misbehaved. If she tires of doing that, she goes for a good old-fashioned grave robbing spree to dine on some dead and decaying corpses. As with a lot of these legends, especially the ones involving children being eaten, parents would use it to deter their kids from misbehaving. As far as an origin story, there's not much found, but, just a simple tale told to frighten kids.
Maybe she didn't have like a big food budget, so she started eating people.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being a thrifty shopper.
And when there's no kids around, it's like, I'm just going to go dig up some old dead guy.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah, exactly.
You just see like someone digging a grave and they pull out a leg, start taking a bite out of it.
Yeah.
A chicken wing.
But anyway, so yeah, I didn't find a lot on that one. So the next one is El Shamama.
Is this another mama?
No,
Okay.
has nothing to do with mother. So you know how we have the tooth fairy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if is it just like a United States thing?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. But anyway, we have the tooth fairy. When kids lose their baby teeth, they tuck them under their pillow at night, go to sleep. Then the tooth fairy flies their magic ass into the room, takes the tooth for some ungodly reason, and leaves behind some money, right?
Yeah.
Seems completely logic. There's nothing wrong with this.
It's weird. When I was opposite, when I was a kid, it would do the opposite. I would leave quarters under there, and then there would be teeth.
Just a teeth?
Yeah, lots of teeth. Like a ton of teeth.
Why would you? You're like, I'm going to put this quarter
I
in
put
there
a
for the tooth
$5
fairy.
bill in there, and it was just gallons of teeth.
Gallons of teeth? You're like, it's like bringing you the neighborhood kid's teeth. You're like, this one's Timmy's.
The hell am I getting this teeth?
I don't know.
My parents are really disturbed.
Your
They
mom's
called
like,
the FBI. It got really weird.
I think you're onto something here. You could write something like, hey, but which is funny because this is actually an anti-tooth fairy. Anyway, El Shamama. But anyway, like I was going to say, the tooth fairy is kind of an asshole because if your family is well off, you might have a crisp $100 bill under your pillow.
Mine were quarters.
Yeah. But if you weren't as well off,
What did you
quarters,
get, Britton?
$1.
Yeah, I bet you did.
No, I don't know. I used to get those golden dollars. They were really cool.
Yeah, we were 50 cents.
I think the most that I had, I don't know. It was a long time ago. I think I had a 20 once.
We had
My
a-
last baby tooth, I think I got a 20.
We had a special doll that was shaped in a tooth, and it had a little spot where you put the teeth,
That's disgusting.
and then, the tooth fairy would slip in, take the tooth, and then put 2 quarters in the little slot.
So you and your whole family shared this tooth that you just
Yeah.
kept shoving your teeth into?
And just a family of teeth being barreled into there.
Yeah. I bet that was extremely hygienic. Just teeth into this little plushie
Act
toy.
like I was trying to eat it. No, it was a little sleeve on the outside, man. Then they grab the tooth fairy, grab them, probably dispose of them.
I don't think so.
Okay, all
I
right.
think there's some
It
malicious
was
intent.
machine washable.
Washable. Well, I hope it was machine washed every time.
Power washed.
Take it out with the power washer in the driveway. Clean this fucking tooth thing off. Anyways, Egypt has an anti-tooth fairy, if you can believe it. So if you think of like in our culture, in our place, you lose a tooth, you get some money. Well, this legend, like the last one we covered, is a cautionary tale told to children, specifically those who don't brush their teeth. El Shamama is described as a fairy demon of sorts and can follow the scent of the horrible breath that escapes the mouths of children who don't care to brush their teeth.
This was brought to you by Colgate.
Yeah. Sponsored by. Like a shark drawn to blood, this fairy will stop at nothing to punish the children who take a stance against oral hygiene. It's unclear if she eats the children or simply flies around mocking them for having shit breath. One thing is for certain, if you don't brush your teeth, this demon is sure to make its appearance.
Wow. Yeah. Pretty cool.
So we have a mother who eats kids at night and an anti-tooth fairy. So Egypt's looking real hot right now, man.
Yeah, very hot there.
But anyway, let's go back to this story that's slow burning.
Okay. Now we'll get into more current-ish mystical accounts.
Yes.
This story is from Edward Case. Do you know who he is?
Not a clue.
Okay. Born in the late 1800s. But I want to do an episode about him because he's actually very famous. I'm surprised you haven't heard of him. We could do an entire episode on this gentleman. So he was called the Sleeping Prophet because he would literally speak prophecies in his sleep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Like, Britain will get dairy from the grocery store on Tuesday.
He's like, I'm going to go take a nap, and everyone gathers around with a pen and pencil.
That's kind of what happened, dude. I'm not even kidding.
Like, what's this guy going to say now?
So Casey would make many thousands of predictions in the 20th century before his death in 1945. He famously predicted things like the stock market crash of 1929.
Wait. When was this guy here?
He was born late 1800s.
Oh, okay.
Died in 1945.
I thought we're still back in like Egypt times. Like he predicted the stock market before there was a stock market.
Oh, no.
That's impressive.
He predicted World War II, the death of 2 American presidents, the fall of the Soviet Union, and numerous other things. He had enough credibility within his community that a stenographer was retained to sit next to him by his bedside while he slept and write down whatever he said.
Wow.
Among his prophecies was an assertion that there was a mystical hall of records that would be discovered in the early 1990s underneath the front paw of the Great Sphinx of Giza.
Wow.
Further, he asserted a knowledge that the Sphinx was not 4,500 years old, which is commonly understood even today, but 10,000 years or more. Between 1991 and 1993, a series of studies were conducted under the leadership of Egyptologist John Anthony West and geologist Robert Schoch, which took seismic and geological surveys of the ground around the Sphinx. The results, I remember watching this, I swear to God I remember watching this. The results of the study were presented for the world to see in an hour-long NBC documentary titled The Mystery of the Sphinx, which at the time was in a primetime slot where 30 million people watched.
What year was this?
So they were doing this study around 1991 to 1993. So I'm assuming this series may have come out in that time frame or after.
Say, I was born in 91, so I definitely don't remember watching that.
Yeah.
Maybe my parents were in the background and I'm just like soaking. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
You were like 10 or 11 at that time, right?
I'm not that old, man. Might have been 5. Stunningly, the documentary announced that the seismic surveys had revealed a series of unexplained tunnels and chambers underneath the Sphinx. People claimed that this finding was proof of the Hall of Records Casey had foretold would be discovered. Before this finding could be explored more thoroughly, Egyptian authorities led by the government's chief inspector of antiquities, Dr. Zahi Hawass, stepped in and shut down the research. West and Schoch were expelled from the site while Hawass called their findings American hallucinations. I hate how sometimes people are just mean to Americans. You know?
I mean...
Yeah, but everyone has their bad ilk, you know? In 1995, thinking the heat had perhaps died down, West and Schoch put in an application to resume their research but were denied vehemently. West would later tell the New York Times that Zahi Hawass basically obstructed them. But then in 1996, a new project was given permission by Hawass and the Egyptian authorities to conduct surveys around the Sphinx after the company seeking the permit poured a very generous $10 million into the project.
Very generous indeed.
Yeah.
A sumptuous $10 million.
$10 million in 1996 is a lot more than.
Yeah.
In short order, a video was released. Its star was one of Zahi Hawass. His dramatic accusations of the American hallucinations were nowhere to be found. The video showed Hawass entering an underground tunnel, amazingly through a hole in the Sphinx. Once inside, Hawass gleefully announced, "Even Indiana Jones would never dream to be here."
You don't go in the Sphinx hole.
There's a big shaft in there.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? We are inside the Sphinx in this tunnel. This tunnel has never been opened before. No one really knows what's inside this tunnel, but we are going to open it for the first time.
Brag much?
Yeah.
Indiana Jones himself wouldn't even come in here. A fictional Hollywood character himself.
Andy's got nothing on me. They're like, there's a crocodile, just eats them. They're not even from. Like, where the hell did this crocodile come from? On that teaser,
it's like Harrison Ford wouldn't be caught dead in this thing.
You just see a whip. Indiana Jones, no. It was a lost footage episode. No one knows what happened to him.
Yeah, that's the uncensored version.
Indy, no.
Don't do it, Indiana.
So the reverse South Park version, the remake. All right. On that teaser, the video ends, leaving the audience wanting more. Later that year, Hawass openly started proclaiming that not one, but a series of tunnels existed under the Sphinx, and that these tunnels carry many secrets of the building of the pyramids. By 1998, it was Hawass himself who was personally overseeing the excavation below the Sphinx, and then, all of a sudden, Hawass again reversed his position. The excavation project was abruptly shut down, and Hawass began to assert that there was absolutely nothing under the Sphinx. It was a strange position for him to take, considering there was so much evidence to the contrary. Hawass even started denying that there was a hole in the Sphinx through which could be entered. Even if we had not seen a video of Hawass himself crawling into the Sphinx through a hole, this is something of a historical fact that has been well established for hundreds of years. So to go back into this, as early as 1733, explorer Charles Thomson noted a hole in the top of the back of the Sphinx. In 1798, French archaeologist and artist Vivant Denon sketched an image of the Sphinx which showed a man climbing out of a hole in its head.
Gross. How many holes does this Sphinx have?
You should just have an open mouth and you have to crawl into it. And then it eats you. So do that mouth, dude. The mouth's just I think he's dead.
He's totally dead.
By the 1920s, an aerial photograph taken from a hot air balloon distinctly showed a hole in the top of the head of the Sphinx.
They had to use hot air balloons back then. Now we have drones.
Yeah. And guns.
Drones. They had guns.
Drones with guns.
Yeah.
Just
double whammy.
A drone shows up with a gun, just shoots you.
Yeah.
It was a drive-by drone.
You know, give it a couple years. I'm sure it's already been done.
I bet it has. They have flamethrower drones. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They have grenade drones? Just drops a grenade.
Self-destructing drones. All right. Anyways, I want a beer drone. Anyways.
You know what kind of drone would be cool? We're just going to keep talking about drones for the next hour.
Yeah. So why would Hawass deny the research going into this project as well as previous findings? It is theorized that there is a mafia-like group that controls the research and suppresses new information at the country's ancient sites. Documents show that as far back as the 1830s, French engineers conducted a considerable excavation in front of the Sphinx and had just discovered a doorway leading further underground when a shadowy force compelled them to suspend their work.
Huh.
This process of discovery and subsequent shutdowns continued resolutely into more modern times. In the 1990s, at the same time as West and Schock were being expelled from their research around the Sphinx, another team, led by German robot engineer Rudolf Gottenbrink, was sending a small robot equipped with a camera down an unexplored shaft.
Hey, is that the video we just watched?
No.
Gottenbrink?
No. It was a bigger shaft and a bigger robot.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
The one we watched on YouTube, just a
little
little
small
guy.
shaft, yeah.
Small shaft, small car.
Yeah.
Mm.
You're insinuating there, huh?
It's like a hot dog in a volcano there, bud.
Hot dog in a hallway.
Toothpick in a hallway.
Within the Great Pyramid, barely half a mile away, so from where the other researchers were, within the shaft, the robot came upon a small door with two small copper handles on it. This shocked researchers since metal is not found anywhere else in the Great Pyramid. What could be behind this strange door? Despite the incredible nature of this discovery, Gottenbrink and his team were shut down and banned from exploring further.
Of course they were. Finally find something. Like, hey, you got to get out.
Gotta go. Bye-bye.
No
See you later.
more discoveries for you, dude.
Even more recently, exploration has faced the same fate. In 2008, a researcher project called the Madija Expedition was launched in the Hawara region a few miles outside of Giza. It would use advanced ground-penetrating radar to look at shafts. I'm just kidding. To look to look for secrets below the sand. Incredibly, researchers began to find signs of chambers and tunnels and walls beneath the earth, which is crazy because they're miles out from the pyramid.
Right.
Massive rooms, some 150 meters by 100 meters. It appeared to be the remains of an ancient city. These results were published in a scientific journal of the NRIG and presented in academic lectures. So this is not the work of treasure hunters, but serious lifelong scholars, giving it more credibility. All of a sudden, Egyptian authorities again shut down the project, and further attempts to suppress the release of the findings were made. Formerly, authorities claimed that these things exist only in the minds of those who seek to attract the seekers of mystery. That's eloquent. All of our excavations in the territory of the pyramid have failed to reveal any underground passageways or halls, temples, grottos, or anything of that kind, says the Egyptian authorities. Despite the evidence of findings, Egyptian authorities continued to deny that anything had been found beneath the ground of Egypt, attempting to define the narrative of the own reality that they wanted to shape. And for what purposes? Nobody really knows. But why would they go to such great lengths to censor all of these findings? To find out.
One might wonder.
Yeah, stay tuned. Transition to Britain.
All right. I don't think you're ready for this next one because, man.
Is it another, teeth thing?
No, it's not a teeth. So, this is by far my favorite legend. It comes from Egypt, and you'll see why. So this one time, right, in the past, sometime, I don't know the year, some lady decided to buy a big old stuffed teddy bear, right? One of the big ones that you see like in Costco and stuff. It was adorable, and she simply had to have it.
Was there a skeleton in it?
Nope.
Damn.
But little did she realize the horror that she would be bringing into her home. You see, she didn't realize that this specific teddy bear had been full of stuffing that had come from various corpses all over Egypt.
Oh, cool.
So you weren't wrong in a sense. I mean, it wasn't a skeleton, but just random stuffing from corpses all over Egypt. I don't know how you get that. Every day, the woman would wake up and go to work, and upon returning home, she would find the house spotless. She thought that her husband had finally decided to make himself useful and clean the place up a bit, but upon thanking him, he insisted that he didn't clean a damn thing, just lazed about all day as per the usual.
Yeah.
Right? Sounds about
Jerry.
Right.
Typical Jerry.
Yeah. The woman, obviously suspecting foul play, decided to pretend to go to work and simply stepped outside for 5-ish minutes. She entered her home to find a sight she would never forget. The giant teddy bear standing up in the kitchen all on its own, making some French fries. The story is absolutely true, says the internet, and finishes by describing the bear attacking her and burning her face as a consequence for her being so damn curious.
Women shouldn't ask questions. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Moral of the story here, Cleet, is if you get home from work and the house is clean, just let it be. Because at least you got a clean house. Do you need to know why it's so damn clean? And I thought that was hilarious, but everything I read said it's a true story, but I don't know.
Do you have your suspicions?
A little bit.
It seems pretty true. I'm just gonna blindly believe it.
I'm just gonna believe it and call it a day. So the last one that I'll end with here before we finish up this other story from Cleet is El Nadaha, which is by far Egypt's most terrifying and popular urban legend. This urban legend became most popular back in the 1950s when Egypt was less urban than it is in modern day. During this time, children would play closer to the Nile and people would gather around the river enjoying the beautiful weather. El Nadaha has the form of the most stunningly beautiful woman you could ever imagine. So just imagine, Clayton, in your mind, like the most attractive woman you can, right? She would appear suddenly out of the river and make herself known to men who would be found walking the banks of the river. It is stated that most men were found in pairs rather than walking alone, but it's not always the case. El Nadaha would call them by their first name, seemingly hypnotizing them and leaving them speechless, blindly obeying her beck and call. If there were two men, only one would be hypnotized, and the second would do everything they could to hold the first one back. The creature would call out in a sleepy, soft, hypnotizing voice that is hard to resist. If the second man was successful in breaking the trance, they would both run to safety. It's kind of hard to, this lady just appears out of the river. Like,
come in the water with me.
Cleet, come.
Just slither in here.
Come skinny dipping. Let me see your shaft. More often than not, the men don't come close enough to the creature to get a really good look at it before they're running away in fear. Those that have described seeing her tell of a gorgeous white female. She's tall, slender, with long hair flowing all the way down her back. She's seen standing near the bank of the river, flowing around with the water, hands down at her sides. She's wearing a loose, long, semi-transparent dress, and has also been described as having a semi-transparent body. Her call is calm and soft, yet loud as to be heard over the water. In rural Egypt, the creature has been said to call for the men in their homes that rested by the shores of the Nile. The men would desperately try to leave upon hearing the call, hoping to find the beautiful source. Some stories state that the men don't immediately follow, but rather enter a trance-like state for several days and nights until they are ready to follow late one night. Some believe that hearing the call curses you, and lifting the curse is impossible, leaving you to your imminent doom. There have been no sightings of El Nadaha devouring her victims, but they do believe she pulls them in violently and drowns them. This urban legend has some similarities to the siren in Greek mythology, who would call out to nearby sailors at sea.
Nice.
So yeah, that's literally some of the best things I could find for Egypt. There's not a whole hell of a lot of spooky shit that's going on in Egypt.
That was spooky.
But so far you've got like this, beautiful woman that comes out of the river. You've got a were teddy bear. You've got an anti-tooth fairy and a ghoul mom. That's what Egypt's known for.
I keep waking up. There's teeth under my pillow.
What the fuck is this? And they're rotten teeth.
Ew. To attempt so. Right,
to finish up Cleet's side.
So coming back, why are they trying to censor things? To attempt to answer this, we need to go back to the words of Jerry Cannon, who said they're frightened that if they find the stuff under there, it's going to blow all of their books and all of their history out the window.
I feel like we've heard this part before.
So what are the secrets that could potentially rewrite the history of humanity? When going back to the research of West and Shock in the early 1990s, a series of the underground chambers and tunnels was not the only thing they discovered. Vitally, they also determined through geological surveys something amazing about the age of the Sphinx. To that point, mainstream thought had placed the age of the Sphinx around 4,500 years old from the dynasty of Khufu, around 2500 BC. Yet West and Shock found that erosion showed that the Sphinx had been carved far before that.
Damn.
Way back, before the Sahara even became a desert. Because the Sahara goes through desert tropical cycles. I think it's like every 20,000 years.
Damn. That'd be cool to see in a tropical cycle.
Yeah, right. At the end of the last ice age, when heavy rains constantly pounded the area, right in the shaft.
What was the word? The sumptuous.
Yes, sumptuously.
Sumptuously pounding
with
the rain. The shaft. God.
This meant the Sphinx was not 400 or 500 years old, but over 10,000. It may be mentioned that this was just as Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, had predicted. Interestingly, the ancient Egyptians had no record of the Sphinx being built. In fact, an ancient Egyptian tablet found in the 1850s called the Inventory Stela seemed to indicate that Khufu did not build the Sphinx, but rather that he only repaired it, meaning it was in existence before his reign.
Damn.
Yeah, weird shit.
Didn't see that one coming.
Moreover, as authors Graham Hancock and Robert Bavul pointed out, the Sphinx is aligned with the pyramids in the Nile River in a way which mirrors the orientation of the stars, except they don't mirror the stars today, but rather where the stars would have been approximately 10,000 or to 12,000 years ago. Cuckoo. If the Sphinx really is over 10,000 years old, this would mean that it predates the ancient Egyptians. That long ago, it was the Sumerians who stood as the dominant group in the region.
It was dinosaurs that carved this Sphinx.
Yeah, it was probably a T-Rex with his teeth and his little arms.
He
had a big stick. According to ancient Sumerian texts, their civilization was visited by gods from the sky called the Anunnaki, who brought them advanced technology and knowledge, spurring their development, and in fact, the development of all humanity. In modern times, there are many that believed these gods were not deities at all, but rather ancient aliens who came to mine gold from our planet. But how does this relate to the Sphinx, and what may or may not be hidden beneath it? Consider that ancient Sumeria texts reveal that the Anunnaki built massive cities underground, and to enter these underground metropolises, one entered through a tunnel. its entrance hidden by sand and what they called Hawana, which means his teeth as the teeth of a dragon and his face the face of a lion. This sounds almost as though the Anunnaki constructed some sort of lion-like sphinx to guard their secret underground abode. Let's return to the words of Masudi, who claimed to have seen the hidden tunnels and galleries under the Giza in the 10th century. In his works, he wrote that these tunnels and galleries were guarded by mechanical statues with amazing capabilities, the description of which sounded not unlike robots in modern science fiction.
They were guarded by a bunch of Teslas.
Like the 10th century, so how would he describe robots? He said, I have seen things. Bad things. I'm just kidding. I have seen things that one does not describe for fear of making people doubt one's intelligence. It reminds me of you. But I still have seen them. Going back to Edgar Cayce, who correctly supposedly predicted the true age of the pyramids and the existence of the tunnels and chambers beneath it, in another one of his prophecies, he asserted that a flying saucer was buried under the Great Pyramid of Giza. There are many strange carvings in Egypt that depict what look like flying saucers as well. Could this be what lies under the Giza Plateau? The remnants of a technologically advanced city built by extraterrestrial visitors?
I was going to say, when are the aliens coming into play? Because on our alien episode, there are hints of like a flying sphere in this time.
Yeah, those are the aliens, man.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. So perhaps the secrets hidden beneath the Sphinx had the power to fundamentally reshape human history as we know it? Maybe this is why Egyptians have been known to suppress exploratory research in the area. But who really knows, man? It's kind of a crazy story. The more I read into this, I was like, this is pretty interesting. I don't know.
It's always fascinating to see like way older civilizations and what they did, and you know their hieroglyphs, right? Hieroglyphs of what they interpreted, like the stars 10,000 years ago. Like, what did that look like? What was the orientation?
Yeah, we wouldn't have cared. We would have drummed dicks.
Giant dick.
Yeah.
Big shaft. Small balls.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if that's
Jesus, dude. All right, guys. This ends our listener requested video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.